This is Lundon Calling's the fourth edition of the Lundon Bridge talk show, where we bridge the gaps with three generations of Gabby gays. Welcome to the show, folks, from around the planet. Yes, there are listeners from around the planet. I'm absolutely amazed at how things are going with the show and the listeners that we are getting. So please fasten your seatbelts from around the world. No topic is taboo, and we warn you in advance that we have potty mouths. And bridging these generation gaps are your hosts, Chandler. Sounds like a movie star. Donny Winter, and another movie star. And Ace Lundon. Oh, my God. 3 movie stars. And as the elder at age 80, I shall moderate the show with Sean at age 50, half of his life gone. And Donny at age 25, he's just wet behind the ears. Let's see how the generations think or differ. We might be called the gay male answer to The View. Oh, my goodness sakes. There is so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us. It is hard to tell which of us ought to reform the rest of us, folks. And you will hear that over and over in the shows ahead. That's sort of our mantra. Because I happen to believe that repetition finally does something and it gets into our brains, because there is so much in that little saying that you got to think about it for a long time. And it's too bad that our Senate and Congress doesn't have that as their mantra, so that they could begin to work together as the good ones and the bad ones, etc. Well, it is time to introduce my lovely co-host, Sean Chandler. Hello, Sean.
Hey, guys. Hey, listeners.
And Donny Winter.
Hey, what's up?
Yes. Well, you know, I've got to tell you this. I was thinking about a time recently, before my mother passed away. And we were sitting outside, and it was a wonderful moonlit night, and we were just enjoying one another's company as a mother and son might do. I was her baby boy, her first, you know. And so we were sitting out there, and she's looking up, and I'm watching her, and she says, "Can you believe it?" I said, "What, Mother?" "Someone walked on it up there." And I said, "You mean the moon?" "Yes." And I got to thinking after that, because I was much younger then, and I thought, you know, we don't understand our elders and what they might be thinking and going through. I had never thought about the fact, because we sent a man up to the moon, yes. But for Mother, it was, my God, someone walked on it. And then I thought about when I was younger, really younger, and I thought about the old folks that were saying, "Can you believe how they're changing the telephones these days? How are we going to ever talk to one another anymore? There's no party lines or anything." And I thought, oh my God, that's what I grew up with, yeah. And I heard the old folks say that then. So how do you think the old folks think today? You already have heard a little bit from me. And how about your generation? What is going on with your ability to cope with, your thinking about getting older? Sean.
I guess that one's for me.
Yeah, I guess you're definitely older.
It was funny because my husband was on a business call today with our business, and he hung up the phone after talking to someone. He goes, "Oh my God, the world is getting so much younger. I just had this 20-something-year-old production assistant say that she was going to bump me this information in my email," and then brought up some sort of new application or something. I don't know, some program that she was going to use that he had to go online and figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I always feel kind of, well, not always. Well, yeah, I guess I always. Well, yeah, I do. Okay, I feel old when I'm with my niece Taylor, who's 20 years old, and I'll say, "Oh, Taylor, I sent you something on Facebook. I sent you a message on Facebook or something." She'd be like, "Facebook? Get with the program, Uncle Sean. I'm on like Instagram and like Twitter's even getting to be a little too like decrepit for them. It's Snapchat and Instagram and I can barely keep up with Facebook. That, and can't stay up past 10 o'clock most nights anyway. So kids these days, what are you going to do?"
Yeah. God, how about you, Donny?
When it comes to coping with aging, well, it has never really occurred to me that much until the past year. I, too, Sean, have gotten caught up with people who absolutely love Snapchat and Instagram. I finally just got myself Snapchat, and I absolutely cannot stand it. I am a Facebook junkie. I prefer Facebook because it seems more sensible to me. But one thing that I've started thinking lately is, like, I've been thinking back on when I was 18 and 19, and I was like, everything seemed so new back then. So whenever I experienced a new experience at that point, I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. Now I'm just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Onward we go.
And that's not too many years ago either.
No, it is not.
It shows us how fast things are progressing in our time now. I often wondered, my God, will I be like my mother and I'll be sitting as an old man someday and maybe saying some silly thing like, my God, somebody walked on the moon or whatever happened, And I think we get there, but it seems to be the way things have always been. The young not understanding the old definitely not understanding the young. Those middle ones, oh my God, when you're in the middle years, you're caught between both because you've still got the young ones around you, and yet you've also got a few older ones, your parents and aunts and uncles and such. And how do we cope with all of this as we live? I often wonder.
Here, like, about being younger, I remember being outside all the time, like just playing outside, doing things outside. And now that I'm older and I'm doing adult things, which tends to suck, I'm always like, I really should never have taken that for granted. So now when I go outside, I actually pay more attention than I used to, I think. So in a way, I think growing older helps you appreciate things more because you realize the things that you never noticed before.
That is good. That's right on the nose. Yes. Because believe me, and I'm how many years older than you? 2. Anyway, I appreciate things a lot more than I did, when I was younger. And I go outside now and I breathe deeply. And especially now that I've stopped smoking cigarettes, I breathe even deeper. But no, I don't. That's just bullshit. I breathe deeply. I appreciate the air. I appreciate my surroundings. We had a wonderful day here the other day where there was a slight wind blowing, and it reminded me of when I was young on a farm. And it was just that kind of a day when you could strip and run through the pastures naked and the wind blowing, and you could you could pretend you were a deer hopping these great hops, and it brought all that back. But, we remember those things, and I would love to do that again. Of course, I can't run like that anymore, but it'd still be fun.
Now you'd be arrested for being a sex offender if you did that.
Probably, and especially either that or they'd hire me and I'd become a porn star or something. The way things go these days. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, all you have to do is become an internet sensation like the Kardashians, and you could end up selling underwear or whatever, or being a porn queen. well, I'm a king, or maybe not. Who knows?
Let's not push it.
No, Ace, you're totally a queen, Ace.
Oh, thank you so much. Kiss my ring now.
Yeah, you were kind of taking a lot for granted there, Ace. Come on.
A group of gays here. Fortunately, we end up having gay friends where we live. And in a little town like Bullet City, we've only got in this tri-state, tri-city area, maybe 20,000 gays, and lesbians. And so we get together in little groups. And we had our movie night, Sunday night. Now, years ago, when the gay movement was first starting, we'd get together on Sundays for tea time on Sundays with friends. And so I kind of tried to bring the tea time idea back. So we get together on Sundays for one thing or another. And this Sunday we watched because Scott and Mark had a special buffet. Oh my God, their buffets. Those gays really do know how to put buffets in. Anyway, we had a buffet and then a film, and we watched Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Oh.
And it just made me feel so gay all over again. My goodness sakes.
You know how we can gauge how old you are?
What?
So do you know how we can gauge how old you are?
How gay tell?
No. I saw that film when it first came out when I was Donny's age.
Oh, my. Okay.
Since then, they've had a Broadway musical that's come and gone and has toured around the entire world.
Oh, so, my.
Yeah. That's just another way to remind you of.
Yes.
You know that and I've heard of it, but I've never watched it or watched it play.
You will love it. It's classic. And I hadn't seen it since it came out, so it was really enjoyable. And Terrence Stamp, oh my God, what a wonderful actor he is. Oh, so
he was robbed of an Academy Award nomination for that part. I've always said,
yeah, he certainly. Oh God, he brought out the emotions in me, and I'm sure in other people who saw the film that you just thought, oh my God, he is so right on. Ooh. You know,
you should watch it, Donny. You'd like it.
Speaking of actors and actresses, I was talking recently with one of our listeners, the actor Mel England, and he listens to the show. How about that? We have an actor listening to the shows.
Hi, Mel.
Woohoo!
Yeah, woohoo is right.
Very nice man too.
Well, I don't want to go too far with that, but anyway, he was saying, I said to him, I says, you got any ideas that we should be talking about on the Lundon Bridge? And he says, well, you all are stars, and doesn't everybody want to be a star? You should talk about the star system of the movies and such, because I'm sure your listeners, I bet you got a lot of listeners, he said, who probably are looking forward to show business and becoming a star. And I thought, that might be a very interesting topic, because we've got 3 generations. And I ran into somebody the other day at the market, and we were just sitting chatting, and I mentioned something about Mae West, and she says to me, who is that? And I'm saying, oh, my God, who is Mae West? Are you kidding me? And she says, no, I never heard of her. I said, well, do you go to movies? And she said, yes. I said, you wouldn't be going to the movies if it weren't for Mae West, the most powerful woman in Hollywood back in the early days. And she saved Paramount Studios, and she helped build the industry. And then I thought, my God, she helped build it. And then I thought about Mary Pickford. And so I said to her, do you know the name Mary Pickford? No. Oh, okay, do you know the name Judy Canova? Nope. So here was a young lady in her 20s, and she did not know who 3 of the most powerful women in the motion picture industry were. Yet she still goes to the movies and appreciates the movies. And unfortunately, I had the opportunity in my crazy lifetime of knowing all three of those women. And they were powerful women, you know. God, and we wouldn't have what we have today had they not lived and did what they did. They took the reins and rode that damn horse right to success. So, who are the stars that you remember, from your lifetime, Sean? Because you're in the mid-50s. Oh no, you're 50. Okay.
I told you you're taking a lot for granted in this show, Ace. I think that the stars that I could think of that are really prevalent and were from when I was younger are like, of course, Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, who else? Nicole Kidman, Julianne Moore. I'm just talking about starlets right now. I mean, as far as actors, I'd have to think about that for a little while. A lot of believe it or not, Ace, a lot of the people that I consider to be stars of my generation are still alive. So they're who you're seeing now. It's the more mature stars that you have out there that are every once in a while, somebody over 60 wins an Academy Award, and it's somebody like that.
Yeah, if they're lucky enough. Bryan Cranston, I hope, will end up getting an award for the film that he's starring in now called Trumbo, Trombo, Dalton Trumbo. And speaking of Dalton Trumbo, Sean, Dalton Trumbo has been my favorite screenwriter of all time. And you're a screenwriter. Now, are you familiar with Trumbo?
I don't think so, unless you can name off a couple of his movies.
Oh, my God. Johnny Got His Gun is one of them. Spartacus is another one, only he had to write it under an alias.
Okay.
Another one is that one with, it was such a hit. What's her name? I can't even think of her name now. She starred in, anyway, it won an Academy Award and everything, and he had to write that under an alias too, because he was a communist. And they had him put his neck on the axe, to the point where he had to try to make a living for himself, and so he had to write under aliases because he couldn't be Dalton Trumbo anymore.
Under McCarthy.
Yeah. It might have been McCarthy or before that. I'm not sure. It was the Red Scare. When everyone, that was the years that I caught the axe also, and they said I was a pinko, and Trumbo. God, you've got to look him up or learn about him, because there is one of the most phenomenal screenwriters alive today. Yet I know he's dead now. I think, I don't know, maybe I don't even know, but oh my God, yeah.
Bryan Cranston is a great actor. He has really come into his own over the last decade or so, especially with Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about his portrayal of LBJ and such? This is one hell of an actor. Yeah.
Yeah, he just won a Tony Award a couple years ago for a play about LBJ.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I really wish I would have. I started reading it. I haven't gotten very far with it, but sometimes it's difficult to read a play because there's so much that's created up on the stage.
So, Donny, who are the stars in your baby life?
In my baby life, let me see. Well, when I was in the early 90s, I remember Star Trek: The Next Generation was pretty big. So Patrick Stewart, I remember vividly. Jeff Goldblum. And keep in mind, like Sean, these are all people who are still alive as well. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. It's not something that I've really given much thought to yet.
It's amazing. Do you remember? Do you know Mae West and Mary Pickford and Judy Canova?
I've heard of the first two, but I have not heard of the last one.
Oh, Judy Canova.
I know who Mae West is. Like I know her vividly.
Yeah, that's the one. Come up in my house and see me, big boy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was God, what a woman. And Judy Canova was the leading country comedian of the time, but she was very, very wealthy, and she knew how to play the game and make money, and she became incredibly wealthy, and just stayed as that silly, dumb country comedian that she always portrayed. And yet here she was, she was rolling in dough. And when I did the shows down at Camp Pendleton for the Marine Corps, her daughter, we called her Dee Dee. Her name is Diana Canova, who was in that TV show. Soap, yes. Anyway, Dee Dee was in that, but she was a regular on our live shows down at the Marine base all the time too. So I've stayed in touch with the families that were close and such. Dee Dee's back in, I think, Connecticut now, and she's connected with the education system back there. Anyway,
hey,
so
Donny.
You what?
Donny,
What?
did you know that Ace is BFFs with Mae West?
No, I did not know that. It never occurred to me.
What's BFS? What's BFS? Is that anything LOL and OTT lady or something like that? What is BFF?
Best friends forever.
BFF. Okay, best friends forever. Yeah. If she'd be alive, we'd still be good friends. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
They used to go to psychics together.
Yeah.
What?
Believe it or not, Miss West liked to test out psychics, and she'd ask me to go with her to see if they were for real or not, because she knew I was psychic.
Oh, okay. Psychics. I thought you were saying psychics as in some sort of like place. Like, oh, this is a club we're going to called Psychics.
A sidekick. Okay.
Okay.
The English language.
That right there, that sentence exemplified the generation gap better than anything we could have said in the past 10 minutes. I thought you were saying sidekicks as in a place that you would go to, like a club. Not even a person who's like I don't know, your sidekick, a character, your friend's sidekick or something. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh my God! Okay. That was
profound. To be fair, I think psychics are rather ageless because I've been to psychics before.
Wait a minute. I'm thinking you're thinking like a bar named Sidekicks, right?
That's what I thought at first, and then I realized what you were referring to. Yes.
Okay. But you just said you've been to sidekicks before. Is there another type?
No, I've been to actual psychics, like, readers before, like psychic readers.
Oh, a psychic. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, Miss West and I did have some interesting and fun times as we visited these people. Because she was Miss West. The psychic would say, come in now and I'll do your reading. She'd say, may Mr. Lundon come in with me? Of course, they didn't dare say no, so I'd always go in with her, and I'd listen to the psychic talk, and I'd watch him, et cetera, and maybe I'd be able to tune in on him, and so afterward, you get out. What do you think of him? I said, no, he's not for you, Miss West. No, not for you. And she'd say, okay, that's good. And then we never did anymore. And at one time, he was a real psychic. And so we went in, and he's talking to her, and he says, but you already know that, don't you, Mr. Lundon? And I says, what do you mean? He says, you're a psychic also. And I said, okay, you got me. And so we became friends then too. Interesting how life, unfolds right before our very eyes. Mm-hmm.
I'd only buy that if he didn't know your last name was Lundon.
Well, Miss West introduced me as Mr. Lundon.
Okay.
Not Ace Lundon, just Mr. Lundon. She never said Ace Lundon.
No, but didn't he say, you already know that too, don't you, Mr. Lundon?
Yes, and he knew my name, of course.
Well, so she fed him the information.
Who fed him the information? Nobody. He had none of these psychics knew that I was psychic.
I know. He was just guessing, that's all. But he knew your name. If he didn't know your name and all of a sudden he came out with it, then I'd be like, okay, all right.
Well,
yeah.
No, he explained himself afterwards, that he realized that I was reading him while he was reading her.
Now, see, in our other show, I never got to call BS on any of this stuff. I had to be very as objective as I could possibly be.
Oh no, you were a bitch to me on that show. What are you talking about? People will listen to the Empty Closet series and they'll see, oh my God, what a bitch Sean was to Ace. Poor Ace. Yeah, no, he turned on me.
Oh, you two were being such drama queens.
We had fun.
But I love it.
It was really fun being a bitch to Ace from time to time.
Yes, it was.
Actually, too, please. I learned from the best, darling.
I tell you, Sean, I don't know that you ever really believed any of the psychic stuff, do you? Or did you? What we talked about on that show?
I have a tendency to think that I think that there's an energy there. I just don't think that there are people who are alive that are flesh and blood human beings who are really able to tap into it. There's a part of me that thinks it's snake oil.
Okay. I thought that's what you thought. Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in the word psychic, but I do believe that people are intuitive.
That's what I mean by energy. I mean that it's like I put a post on Facebook a couple weeks ago where I felt like sometimes the people who have passed on before us, I felt like sometimes their influence was at work on us on Earth as live human beings, sort of helping us to achieve goals. And I don't know if that's just because of the fact that they're in our minds and their influence maybe resonates a little bit stronger when there isn't a lot of live baggage attached to it. I don't know. But as far as people like reading the future and doing readings of dead people, I don't know. It's really hard for me to buy.
That's what I think. But that's okay. I tolerated you anyway, my dear.
Yes, you were a trooper, I have to say. Hey, you asked me to do it.
Yes, I did.
Apparently I was the right one, so.
Folks, you're going to have to you're going to have to go onto the Lundon Calling page and check out some of the past shows from the Empty Closet series to find out what we're talking about. It really was a fun show, and we did 72 or 74 episodes, I think. Right, Sean?
Yeah, it was 74. We did it over 3 years.
Yeah. And then prior to that was the 5-year period with Lance, and you can check those shows out too. And I guess evidently some people are going back and checking out some of those shows now, because I'm hearing from people said, I heard you on the Lundon Calling show. And you were talking with so-and-so or something or other as a guest. So I know that they're listening. They're finding these old shows. That's kind of nice. And that is one of the things that people in my age group say, my God, we are in this crazy time. Holy mackerel. How did I get here without realizing what was happening? And yet here we are in the computer age. And boy, it's just something else. So be kind to the elderly, please. in your lives, because one day you'll be that way and you'll be saying the same things that I'm saying. Who in the fuck are these people you're talking about, Donny? I never heard of those actresses, you know?
Well, right now I would like to do something that you probably, Ace, saw being invented. And Donny, you're probably going to, well, you probably don't ever watch because you probably watch TV on your computer. So
Sometimes.
Exactly. Every once in a while you might hear one of these. They're called commercials.
Oh, snap.
I'm the father of commercials.
Right? But you remember when they were smoking on commercials, don't you, Ace?
Oh, yes. My goodness. And you never see cigarettes in the commercials these days. Now, I don't know what's wrong with them, but they just don't show them anymore, you know? Same in the movies. All of this political correctness and bullshit, I swear to God. Okay.
Well, you're darn tootin' right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and thank some people here. So you guys take a little breather and whatnot. So let's give a big thank you to our sponsors. First off, we would like to thank an awesome company run by our brilliant engineer, Miraculous Mike Means, and his lovely wife, my girl, Juanita. Hi, Juanita. For great stage and theatrical design and jewelry design, and audio and video editing, please visit their website for their company, which is called Eclectic Resources. It's a wonderful company where you can get all of those services, and the website is www.eclectic-resources.net. Next, and equally as fabulous, let's thank our friends at Diversity Rules Magazine, a wonderful LGBT-focused online magazine that can be found at www.diversityrulesmagazine.com, and also now available as an app on your smartphone. Another glimpse into the future there. Diversity Rules Magazine, celebrating the diversity of our humanity. And we're thrilled to now be featured on Next Big Thing Radio, a terrific podcasting website featuring funny and informative shows from our fellow podcasters. Please visit their website at http://nextbigthingradio.net. They too have an app for your smartphone. Next Big Thing Radio, podcasting for a new age. If you like to learn more about the legendary Ace Lundon, you can visit his blog, Scattered Thoughts from a Scrambled Brain, where he waxes funny and philosophic on a wide range of topics. You can locate that at acelundon.wordpress.com. And if you enjoy watching YouTube videos, check out our Donny Winter's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Donny Winter, where he discusses a variety of subjects ranging from his own personal experience of being a bullying survivor to becoming a major voice in LGBT activism. Through his videos, Donny strives to help others overcome the silence we're shamed into when facing traumatic experiences, as well as shed light on current issues within the LGBT community. To learn more about moi, my name is Sean Chandler. You can visit my writer's website at www.seanwchandler.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at SeanAtTheFlash. And, of course, visit the new Lundon Calling Lundon Bridge website for posted shows and updates at www.lundon-calling.com. Don't forget the dash. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Lundon Bridge.
Thank you.
Those are commercials.
Yes. Thank you very. Oh, now we can live. Yeah, we can't live without commercials these days. That's for damn sure. Anyway, you talked about apps. Have you heard that there are ghost apps now, especially regarding the topic of sexting with eighth graders through 17-year-olds? Have you run across that yet?
That one's for Donny. I don't know.
I have not run across that yet. I really don't do many apps on my phone. I have a Facebook Messenger app, and that's about it.
Well, these ghost apps, supposedly, you can get them for free, I guess. And the kids are doing it, like I say, 8th grade through 17-year-old. and they're ghost apps because you can't find them, and they are exchanging a lot of nudies with one another. And of course, the ghost app hides all of that, supposedly, you know. But it's really a very interesting topic that they're getting into with this sexting thing. And it started back, I don't know, in Michigan or someplace, I don't know. And they found a bunch of kids that were doing it, or probably in Colorado. Who knows? They're all smoking. Anyway, did I say that? Oh, God. Okay. Just off the top of my head, I'm sorry. It's something I think we need to keep our eyes open on, because it deals with the legalities and with the moralities of, is it okay for eighth grade? What is that? 14 or 15-year-olds? Eighth grade?
Yeah. 13.
About 13-year-olds.
13, yeah.
They don't even have 13-year-olds. They don't have hair on their lollipops yet, you know. But Jesus, you know, they're exchanging these sex things on through the internet. Of course, parents don't know because they can't get into that secret little ghost app that the kids have got. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all turns out. We're always into these new things, and it's so hard to keep up with everything, especially at my age. Good Lord. And I'm talking about nudities on Facebook with children. But are they really children? My God, I had my first happy day, if you want to call it that. It was happy for me anyway, when I finally scored with the guy that I really thought was hot. And I was age 15, I think, at that time, 16 at the max. So are these kids doing just what comes naturally with, you know, trying to impress some little girl or some boy, you know? I don't know. Anyway. Oh God, folks, we get into these deep topics and it just wearies me. Mm-hmm.
Well, look at the show Teen Mom. There's a TV show on MTV, hugely popular, called Teen Mom, about these teenage mothers.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a big popular show with teenage girls. Yeah, my nieces watch it. David's nieces watched it when they were younger. You know what it is, Donny.
I do. I've never watched it, though.
I've never watched it either, but...
It's because you are not teen moms.
I do value what brain cells I have left.
No, that's a new one on me. Anyway. By the way, we are in an election year season again. And you know what bugs me is something that has been bothering me over the years. Why do we end up voting only on Tuesdays when people are working, etc.? Why not make it a weekend time to vote for people and make it possible so that more people can get out and vote, because the voting here in this country sucks rotten eggs. My God, 20-30% of the people, and the rest of them don't give a shit. What in the hell is going on? We've got to do some changes there. And yet, I think it was 1845, not that I was around at that time, that they voted to make the election on Tuesdays. 1845 to now, I think it's time for somebody to make some changes there. We've come a long ways from 1845. What do you guys think?
Do you really think it has anything to do with the day of the week?
Yes. I mean, it's not easy for people to get out and vote when they're at a work day.
It's the law that you have to let your employees leave to go vote.
Oh, sure.
What it is. You can't.
You go tell your boss, I'm going to take off an hour or two to go and vote. And he'll say, who's taking your place while you're gone? Well, nobody is. Well, you stay until you can get off work and go and vote. You know,
he can't fire you. He can't hold it against you.
No, he can't fire you, but he can sure make it hell for you.
I don't necessarily think it's the day that matters. Like, I can speak from my generation's perspective. I think it has a lot to do with not having any confidence in the parties that we have to select from at the moment.
What?
Because,
Are you kidding me?
I've heard people say this many times, at least in my generation.
Your generation has no confidence in our Congress. Oh, my God. And you're growing up in this. Oh, my Jesus. Okay. Well, that's the way it goes. We had confidence when I was young. You guys are both Democrats or whatever they're called these days. And I'm a Republican, whatever it's called these days. And I've been that all my life. And I can remember standing up for a loser Republican in the election with Harry Truman. And so he lost. And I was there at the radio listening very carefully. And then, oh, my God, Truman won. There's a Democrat in the White House now. Oh, geez. Then Eisenhower opposed. He became the new Republican. And I like Ike, But the Republican Party back then was like the Democrat Party is today almost. It had great social programs. Great social programs. Now, the Republican Party, its social programs suck rotten eggs, just like the Democrats did back then. Then the Democrats changed, and all of a sudden, we've got two parties that literally changed. The Democrats became the Republicans became the Democrats. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And I can see where you have this problem, Donny, thinking about what's going on today. Ay.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of Ben Carson?
How can you cure it? How can you cure that?
I want to get back to Ben Carson. Believe me, Donny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do too.
How can we cure it? I don't necessarily. Well, I guess one way that it could be cured is by people in my generation stepping up and putting themselves out there. Maybe we can end up creating something new, something fresh.
Well, what are you going to have to do? Put a firecracker up their ass and light it to get them out to vote?
Yeah, if that's what it takes, then that's
Don't
what
tempt
it takes.
Because the voting record is really lousy with your generation.
No, I know.
Yeah. I have, which makes me have very little confidence in the future because your generation is really fucking things up with regard to caring about what's going on nationally, because if they don't care, we're going to get dumb suckers in there like we got right now.
I think I have an answer as to why we do not care.
Okay.
And many could disagree with me, and I'm totally okay with that. But a lot of people in my generation have an insecurity when it comes to age, because I feel like, in a way, a lot of us have been basically told, shut up, your opinion doesn't matter, by people in the older generations. And, at least I have experienced this, and I know other people have too. It could be just myself and this group of people, a small group of people, but when a person is told that, then they are not likely to express their views as willingly as one might hope.
So you have passed the torch on, so to speak, to Sean's and my generations, that we have got to learn to tell the young people, it's okay, you're doing good, blah blah blah. We're so thankful you're getting out to vote. We need to be more compassionate, or we need to be more, what do you call it?
I think there needs to be more awareness with all of the generations. There needs to be more encouragement from the older generations, or there needs to be more motivation from the younger generations.
Because my generation is going to get out to vote, and they're basically all Republicans, good God. And, they'll go out and vote in their wheelchairs, because they got nothing else to do. So that the vote's going to get out for the elderly. And they don't have a job anymore, so they don't.
But Ace, it's hobbling in another way, though.
Wow.
Because and you just said so yourself. I'm a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
You even though you saw the Republican Party flip itself on its ear, become something it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or you still remain a Republican and you still vote Republican. Why is it that you can't?
I don't vote a solid slate of Republican. No.
I know, but you are a proud Republican because you say it every time we talk about politics. When don't you think your generation has a really difficult time changing or saying I've been wrong all these years and now I need to change to the party that I really think is following the way I'm living my life?
Well,
don't you think that's a handicap?
That's a very good slap in the face, and I love it. Anyway, I like the idea that I, as a Republican, can tell my fellow Republicans, get off your ass and get with the reality that we exist in today, because times have changed, and we need to get back to some of the old-time ideas that the Republicans had, where things like Social Security were fine, and things like this. It's just amazing. But I don't plan on changing my what do you call thing?
Affiliation.
Political stance.
Yeah, and I like the idea that I, as a Republican, can get all of this shit that they send to you as a Republican, and I read everything, as long as I can still read, and I go over what they believe, and I'm saying, I cannot believe what this man is thinking, so click, no vote for him. Okay, then I come to another one, and then I say, oh, look at this Democrat. He believes blah, 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 and I believe like that. So I will end up, as a Republican, voting for a Democrat. And I tell my Republican friends, do not be afraid to vote for the real person, the one that can help you the most. Mm-hmm. And that's my belief. That's why I stay with it. And I'm unashamed, because the grand old party has been a grand old party, the same as the DNC has been a grand old DNC, and we need to get back to our basics. And we certainly aren't that. And take a look at Carson's biography today. Sean, you know my autobiography, so you know me. And I'm saying Carson has a biography, and if he's got in it things that are as asinine as they say they are, I'm saying, what in the hell? How did he get that biography written? Well, of course, somebody else wrote it for him. When a biography is not written by the real person, but he can always blame the author for saying, "Oh, that's stupid." But some of his ideas, grain silos being the pyramids and things like that. Oh, please, it is just beyond my comprehension almost. And I'm saying, whoever we better look at his biography, because if that's the way he really believes, I'm saying, as a Republican, I don't care if he's a doctor. He might be a wonderful physician, et cetera, but he doesn't know shit from Shinola when it comes to things like what he's talking about.
Do you know what really annoys me about Ben Carson and most of the other Republican candidates right now? The fact that when they're asked a question, they can't answer it. They dance around it. And I'm so tired of it. Like, if you ask them a foreign policy question, Donald Trump is like, I will get it done because I'm awesome. And Ben Carson's just like, foreign policy? What's that? And I'm just like, what? Like, these people are running because the people wanting to vote for them are just like, oh, well, they read their Bible. That must mean they're good. And it just boggles my mind that that's basically the criteria that they need to meet at this point to be a candidate.
Well, in Dr. Carson's case, he is a member of what the evangelicals call a cult, an abomination. He belongs to the Seventh-day Adventist group. And that's what he has been taught. And I tell you, you better check what the Seventh-day Adventists have taught him, because they teach some crazy things like possibly grain silos out of the pyramids and things like this. And
I can actually speak from experience with that, because my family is kind of Seventh-day Adventist-ish,
yeah.
but I don't recall anything ever being mentioned about the pyramids being grain silos. So I think what Carson is saying in that instance is just a load of crap. Like, I don't even know where he's getting that from. But I will admit the Seventh-day Adventists they have their quirks, much like many different religious offshoots do.
Do you know what the basic is that makes a group, an organization, or a religion a cult in the eyes of the evangelicals? Do you know what the basic is?
I can't say that I do.
I'm sure you couldn't, because most people don't know. It is the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. That is the basic of Christianity. And that includes the Catholics, which even the Protestants have to accept because they believe in the Trinity. And the cults do not believe it. I mean, no matter what cult is.
I think that also might be misconstrued, because the Seventh-day Adventists do believe in the Trinity.
Well, that's one of the things. That's the basic that makes most of the cults. Like Mormonism, Seventh-day Adventism. Well, no, you just negated that. Jehovah's Witnesses, etc., etc., etc. But they have really strange beliefs, and it all comes from their founders. These are new things that have come along. Mormon, etc., etc. They're all new, and they go by what their founders have said. So we need to find out what their founders have said. I can't remember who founded Seventh-day Adventism at the moment. I keep thinking the name of Russell, but maybe not. I think that was Jehovah's Witnesses, Russell. Anyway, Mary Baker Eddy with Christian Science, etc. They follow the founders' ideas, and if this man is being vetted for the presidency of the United States, Lord help us if we get someone in there who actually does believe that science is totally irrelevant, and and believes that the pyramids were silos for grain. You know, this is an important thing that we need to know about these people. And of course, he thinks he's being picked on, but he's not being picked on, because vetting is shit, and you go through shit. I wouldn't want to be a contestant in that process for love nor money, because they'd say, "Oh, Ace, I see that you were a robber and such in the past," and I'd have to say, yeah. Well, isn't that wonderful for a president to say, a future president? No, I could never be a president. But my life is out there, and their lives are not, and that's what's roughing them up at the moment, because we're finding out who they really are, and we need to find this out. Same with that Cruz character. He really gets under my skin as a Republican.
You know what makes me laugh is you just brought it up. They have these debates, and then all of a sudden they're crying like little 6-year-old girls on the playground with skinned knees because they're asking them questions in a fucking debate for the president of the United States they don't want to answer. And then, do you think it's easier when you're the president?
Did the Democrats do any better? Well, probably Bernie Sanders probably did, better.
Well, to be fair, I feel like Bernie Sanders and Hillary did quite well the last debate that I watched.
And I was very impressed with O'Malley. Impressed.
He did pretty well too. But the thing that distinguished the two debates was that the Democrats actually discussed relevant topics. When the Republicans were always like, "Oh, you did this and you did that, and you're mean, and why are you asking me that question? That's horrible, blah." And it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, that does not make me want to vote for you. Like, you're just going to bigger the entire time.
They say this new debate that's coming up, debate number 4 of the Republicans, is going to be featuring the problems of the economy, etc. We'll see what happens,
Wow.
And if they do answer the questions the way that, but I really don't think Democrats or Republicans running for either president, Senate, or the House, I don't think any of them answer the questions decently. Very, very few. Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
They should at least be open and receptive to hearing them.
Yes.
This is the job of the president of the United States, the most powerful person in the entire world. Seriously.
Yeah.
And why should they sit there and cry? Why does, when Megyn Kelly is saying from Fox News,
I like Megyn. I do like her. She's definitely a conservative Republican, but I like her.
At least she had the
eggs.
The eggs. Thank you. Just to stand there or just to say, come on now, grow up, wake up, and pony up and deal with this. Come on.
Yeah.
That just makes us look stupid.
Yeah. It's like the people that say, the Democrats who say, you listen to Fox? Oh, my God. How can you listen to... Listen. Come on, folks. Come on, folks.
I am one of those people.
There are all different channels. Let's tune into them and find out what the fuck is going on. Get real. Learn and listen and learn, and then make up your mind. I tell you, one of the best newscasters that I listen to is Shepard Smith. God, he's a good newscaster. I don't know if he's ever been in a Republican or a Democrat or whatever he is. He's on Fox, but he's good.
I usually watch Fox for entertainment. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, they've got great entertainment. I agree.
Entertainment as in, like, I am amused by some of the ridiculousness that happens on Fox. But I feel the same way about MSNBC. To me, they both lean too far into one direction.
Yeah, and yet I like people.
No, go ahead, Ace.
I like people like Rachel Maddow, because she simply says, I am a liberal. So where I'm coming from. She is not afraid or ashamed to say who she is when she's talking with them, Now,
I am going to make a confession right now. I am a huge fan of Anderson Cooper because secretly he is my husband, even though he does not know it yet. But, I feel like he is pretty... I know he's liberal, but he's pretty moderate when he is being a newscaster.
Yes, he is. I agree there. He's a very good newscaster. Yeah. Yeah.
And so handsome. Oh my gosh.
Nothing for Andy Pants.
I just literally can't even sometimes.
I just love his white hair. Oh, Donny, you like older men. I love you.
Anyway, what I was saying is that when my friends are always asking me about having all of these celebrity husbands, I just tell them that whichever one discovers me first and deems me their husband, they will simply be the luckiest one.
That sounds like a wiener.
Hey, it works.
Yeah. Anthony Weiner.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Well, listen, that brings in the idea of May-December relationships. You could go with an older man and be perfectly happy, etc., and vice versa. What about this May-December relationship, Sean, in your age group there, the 50s? Do you find many of your friends in May-December relations?
Not really. Maybe 1 out of every 10 couples has a large age variance, and it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. It's usually the older guys who have the bigger issue with it than the younger guys.
And
the younger guys are fine with being with the older guys. It's the older guys who get weird.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. Yes, because you know that I had a 23-year difference in my husband and I. Yeah.
Yes, I know. But in your situation, wasn't he the one who was a little bit more weird, and not so much because of any vanity type of thing or how you guys looked? It was because he was more concerned for your mentality and how you would handle it, how you would handle things.
Yeah, he was definitely concerned about me because he says, you say you believe in one thing and now this comes up and you're having problems considering that I'm much younger than you, and yet you believe that science and God agree on time being totally nothing and age being totally nothing, and here we are, and you're saying that I'm younger? Oh, no, you get over that, he said,
Yeah, he called your bluff.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and it sure shook the hell out of me, to be honest, at that time.
Kind of a theme in your life, Ace.
Yes, I have been shook many times.
Well, I have always dated very, very close to my age range.
That's safe always, yes.
It really hasn't had anything to do with like I think it's just always been the people that I've fallen for, that I've been attracted to. I went out on one date with a guy who was probably, I'm going to say, about 18 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Than I, sorry. Sorry. And he was the one who was like, I don't think this is going to work. But he was probably right. I was very immature about the whole thing. So other than that, I think the first boyfriend that I had, he was like 10 years older than he was. He was 10 years older than I, but he was really super immature. And but I don't know. In both situations, I felt like they were right. I felt like they were smart to say, you know what, you're not ready, because I truly didn't think I was ready.
Yeah. That was wise on your part as a young man, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm 3 years older than my husband, but the boyfriend that I had before David, all those decades ago, it was the same age variance as well. I was 3 years older than him, but at that time he was 20 and I was 23.
Yeah. How about you, Donny? What about this May-December relations, where one is...
Are you asking if I've ever experienced one, or if I know anyone who is experiencing one?
We at the Enquirer would like to know that, yes. Mm-hmm.
I do know a couple friends who have about a 12 or 13 year age difference between them, and they seem to make it work perfectly fine. I've never had a situation like that where I've been in a relationship with someone older than myself or that much younger than myself either, so I can't really speak from experience.
Yeah, you guys are so safe.
I feel Donny would always be the mature one in the relationship.
I think so too.
He's you're such a a wise young person that I was telling Ace, they were probably smart to say you were way too immature to be with somebody my age, but maybe they just thought I was hot. Who knows? At one time in my life, I was hot, so.
You still are.
I'm not fishing for compliments.
No, of course not. And I'm not going to give you any.
I'm not lowering myself to fish for compliments. Anyway.
Far beneath you, of course.
There is nothing wrong with compliment fishing.
Yes, that's for sure.
In fact, that's the only kind of fishing I like to do.
Put a little bait on the hook, yeah.
And it's the only time I ever get compliments.
Listen, I complimented you.
Sometimes that hook doesn't need no bait.
once.
Yeah, you called me a bitch earlier, so please.
I can't remember what the compliment was at my age.
That says a lot.
Yes. Oh, dear. No,
I'm telling you, listeners, it sucks to be the middle child. It really does.
I've heard that, yeah. And I was the oldest, the golden child, of course, you know.
Of course.
Of course. Oh, God. No. Anyway, this is the time of the year when we celebrate Veterans Day. I posted something on my blog just in case any of you want to read scattered thoughts from a scrambled brain. I did post something regarding the Veterans Day thing and what we do for that compared to what we do for Memorial Day, which is a totally different thing. You know. Anyway, look at my blog. Sean, you were talking about Veterans Day when we were gabbing.
Yeah. I have somebody that I would like to honor a little bit here as we approach Veterans Day in a couple of days. Is a gentleman by the name of John Phillips, and he was born and raised, for the most part, and lived in Chicago and thereabouts of that area. He was born on Christmas Eve of 1921. He just died recently at 93 years old on October 27th, so he lived quite a long time. His military career started when, after Pearl Harbor was bombed in December of 1941, he decided to enlist in the military because he knew that if he didn't enlist, he would be drafted for sure.
Yeah.
And if he enlisted, he would be able to choose what faction of the military that he was going to be participating in, where he would be serving. So he chose the Navy, and he became a medic in 1942, and then eventually transferred to the U.S. Marine Corps. He was he received a presidential citation from President Truman for extraordinary heroism. After he left the military, he accepted a job at Edward Hines Jr. Veterans Administration Hospital just west of Chicago, where he worked as a surgical technician. And I am aware of this gentleman because he was the subject of my musical co-writer's work that his last major work that he did about 3 years ago called Under a Rainbow Flag. John Phillips was gay.
Oh, goodness,
He went through World War II and the military being gay, and he was closeted to a certain extent. But one of the things that I learned about Leo's incredible show, this is a musical that Leo, my musical co-writer, wrote by himself. He wrote the lyrics, the music, the book, libretto. He went on to win 2 major Chicago Theater Awards called the Joseph Jefferson Awards for Best New Work and Best Non-Equity Musical. And it was just such a wonderful, beautiful musical, and Leo's a terrific writer. But one of the things that watching this man's life unfold during that period of time showed me was back in World War II, it seemed like there were factions of gay people all throughout the military. And I would imagine it goes, back to World War I and on and on and on back. But Leo did such a great job of showing John's life where he had groups of friends that were in the military that would, call each other Mary and use, female pronouns and things like that. I had no idea that culture existed.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to give a shout out to this wonderful man who served his country and who passed away recently. And I want to give a good shout out to all the men and women of the military, gay or straight, who serve our country and protect us and keep us safe and do all of the other terrific things that the military does for us. So thank you to our men and women in uniform and in any military faction in which you may serve. I certainly appreciate it.
I say amen to that. Yeah.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. But we are a gay show.
Yes, we are. At least you are, my dear. I don't know about others, you know.
I am a gay show in itself, that's for sure. I just wanted to...
I'm getting ready to do a Facebook post now regarding the Veterans Day thing and reminding people of the show that I had the honor and opportunity to produce and direct for 7 years and 3 months, the Gene Lundon show for the military, and it ended up becoming the longest running monthly show in the history of the American Armed Forces. And we entertained, the general said, over 750,000 men going to and coming home from Vietnam. And I'm going to be doing a post on that again to remind people that that's what existed back in that Vietnam era. And we went through the 7 years of that war, you know, and then when it finally came to a close, we closed, you know. So
that was such a wonderful time for you. I remember you speaking so fondly of that when we did that portion of the Empty Closet series.
Yeah, it's the best thing that I ever could have possibly done in my life, I think, as far as I'm concerned. I'm most proud of it. And we didn't even plan on doing it. That's the crazy thing. It just came about. And there are things in life, folks, that happen to us, and all of a sudden we are there, and we have to either say, well, I guess I'm going to get on the wagon or not. And if we do, then it takes us to wherever we end up going. And it's one of the phases of our life that we go through. And this came about in a strange way because I went back on a business. I was in personal management and public relations at that time, and I was on a plane trip back to Minneapolis for who knows what reason. And I was sitting next to this young man who was really nice looking, and we started talking. And I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm going home because we're going to be shipping out in a short time. I said, oh, you're in the military? He says, yeah, we're going to Vietnam. And he said, what do you do? And I said, I'm in PR and PM. And he says, wow, do you think you could get some Hollywood stars and starlets to come and say goodbye to me and my guys in my troop or unit or whatever it was? And I said, oh, I suppose so, you know. So we made kind of a little arrangement. Then when I got back to L.A., I contacted Camp Pendleton and Colonel Gorman, and I said, I want to come down and bring a star and a starlet and say goodbye to one of these. And I told him who they were, etc. He says, oh, that'd be wonderful. So we did it. We get down there, and while we're there, Colonel Gorman comes up and he says, do you think you could possibly put together a little show and come down next month? And I thought, sure. Yeah, I'll put together something. And that's how the show started. And it didn't stop for 7 years and 3 months. And we get ourselves into these things in life. I call them phases. We choose, we make choices. Well, I chose to say, okay, Colonel, we'll try it, you know, never knowing what's going to happen. But that's the wonderful thing in life. We have an opportunity of choosing our phases of life that we go into and such. Anyway, so I think that's good, Sean, that you brought that up, because I am a strong supporter of our military, not as a Republican, but as a human being. And I tell you, if I had a lot of money, I would make donations to the Wounded Warriors Project. I think they're doing such a wonderful job, you know, and it's so needed. Oh, my God, it's needed, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of touch on something that we were talking about at the very beginning of the show, Ace, where you were discussing the various generations and the things that that we've seen, that your generation has seen, that my generation has seen, that Donny's generation has seen, and the way we sort of compare and contrast. And I think one of those things that pertains to the military is don't ask, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Because in your generation, it was just don't say anything. Although I was illuminated by Leo's show about John Phillips, that there were very, very small, quiet factions of people in the military who were gay, to where my generation, it was like, you just don't say a damn thing, or otherwise you're kicked out of the military. Yeah, and it's a real thing. And now, Donny, in your generation, we've had don't ask, don't tell repealed, and finally people are able to be openly gay in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And what are your guys' thoughts about what's happened since don't ask, don't tell has been repealed?
Donny, take it.
Do you mean like into gay rights in general at the moment, or specifically like within the military?
What are the effects that it's had on the military?
Well, I feel like people in general are more accepting now for openly gay people who may want to enlist, because I know at one point in time they were very geared toward assessing people and searching them out, almost trying to find faults within them. And now that doesn't seem to be the case as much. But I do think that there is still a lot of deep-rooted homophobia within the military. And I hear about it from time to time from some gay people that I know who've been in the military recently.
Mm-hmm. I have looked up a little information on it, and I have an article here from Huffington Post, and this is from, I want to say 2012. It talks about the fact that there really are very few negative effects on the military after the 1 year after the repeal. And it does state that there remains to be some harassment in the military. But because of the fact that people are able to talk about it more openly without being afraid of being kicked out of the military and losing their careers, that very element is helping to open up conversations and have people talk about how they feel about the subject and build bridges amongst people. And I thought that was a really interesting point. It's done more than just allow people to serve who are gay. It has taken away the evil stigma of being gay in the military, so that anybody could talk about it.
Yeah. It's come along. It's come a long ways since the time of Leonard Matlovich, or whatever his name was. Back when he finally was outed, etc. And also the fact that so many of our gay citizens in the military are actually superior beings, to be honest with you. They really give it their all. And as a result, they are voted Serviceman of the Year, Marine Corps of the Year, or whatever, and it comes out after they're voted that they say, I'm gay. And everybody says, oh, no, we voted in a gay man. Well, get over it, folks, because most of us who are gay love the idea that we want to be the best that we can be. And that's what the military wants. Military people that will be the best that they can be. So it's good that we are involved in the military now with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I couldn't have gotten into the military if I would have said, as a matter of fact, I didn't get into the military because I couldn't determine whether I was gay or straight or what. And I made up a term. I said, well, maybe I'm bisexual, which we haven't heard of even back then. But it made sense to me. And I couldn't have gotten in. They told me that I had to go and see a shrink. Okay. So it's changed a lot. It has changed a lot over the years. But I welcome the changes, because that we can see where we have made strides as a gay community, and knowledge to the straight community that we are actually people too, you see. Mm-hmm.
Well, it becomes a non-issue after a while.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
It's a non. I mean, it's still there, and Donny, you're absolutely right. There are people who are still going to encounter it. We're not going to eradicate all of homophobia by taking this step, but it's a huge step.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
The only way we can eradicate homophobia is get rid of all the religions. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And if you don't like it, suck my thumb. Okay.
Well,
or I have another suggestion also, but we won't say it. Okay.
Well, even if some people might say, what if we kept the quote unquote good religions, the peaceful religions? Well, religion is always going to work against itself because there's always going to be the counter religion to that religion.
Yeah.
Another religion that's created to dislike the elements of the religion that is quote unquote the good, nice religion.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's like a vicious, it's like it just never stops.
I know. And when you get older, you can laugh at it like I do. But sometimes when you're young, it's not so laughable.
Well, there's more to face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go see a shrink. Please. You don't know who you're talking with, you idiot sergeant, you know?
Well, I remember feeling hopeless when I was your age, Donny, and looking at things and just going, this is just not going to happen for me. And a lot of it really, I hate to sound like, some sage here, because I'm certainly not, but a lot of it just because I stuck around and just watch things happen, a lot of it will hopefully get better.
Well, you're approaching the sage age, but of course you have sage and herbs and things like that. Anyway, you're okay, Sean.
We're always convincing ourselves that we don't have time.
Yeah, and that's totally irrelevant. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought more about the end of when I was going to die, not because I was suicidal when I was younger than I do now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I was like, when I was your age, Donny, I was like, oh my God, really is. And I can't see myself living past a certain age. It was very strange. And again,
I thought most 50-year-olds are saying, oh my God, I'm half a century old. I'm almost at death's door, But no.
I'm keeping a little tally over here of the amount of age jokes you're tossing my way. God.
Oh, dear.
That's why you wanted me to be on this show, so you could get back at me from the other show. But I mean, do you ever feel that way, Donny? I mean, do you feel like, gosh, like will I live to see a better day in my 30s and 40s?
Sometimes I do wonder that. I also have moments where I'm like, I can't imagine living beyond this age or whatever, but I don't know. I guess that's just something that everyone must feel. But I mean, I never thought that same-sex marriage would get legalized within this year. Like, I figured it would be like I'd be like your age by the time it got legalized.
That old? Holy mackerel! Okay. Sorry, the devil made me say that.
Hateful. You remember there are 50-year-old gay men listening to this show.
Really? Oh my!
Of course.
I thought we had all young people listening.
No. Well, you just said Mel England. Mel's in his.
Oh yes, Mel's in your age group. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is, but. Of course,
Ace, I love you, but you do realize that while you're making these jokes about Sean, you do have 25 years on him.
Ace.
Is that all?
Yay! Thank you, Tom.
I got your back, Sean.
Oh, thank you very much. See,
It comes, yeah. What goes around comes around, folks. You got to remember that one.
Yes, indeed.
I got a purse. I'm not afraid to use it.
Yes. I have one with bricks in it.
Oh.
Yes.
That's just an old prison trick you learned, Donny. Stuff his purse with bricks and.
Yeah, well, a girl never goes out walking without a purse filled with bricks, you know?
Because he has nothing better to fill it with.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Sean, how many minutes do we have left, you said?
We have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh my God, that's a lot of time in radio speak. Okay.
Yeah. It can feel like a lot of time, can it?
Yes. Well, when you consider that on the debates and such, they've got 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds to tell a complete story. Are you kidding me? I can't give you my name and address in 30 seconds.
Not that they use that time at all to do anything useful, but that's just my thoughts on that.
You are such a Democrat. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm really butthurt about the ridiculous debates.
Well, I listen to them all, and I love to listen and analyze. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, "Oh, you stupid idiot! What in the hell are you talking about?" You know, I talk back, you see, to the television, and I guess that's good because it vents, you know. And after the debate, then I go out and get drunk.
You know, you guys, I have to confess something. I haven't watched any of the debates.
Oh,
good. Save yourself brain cells. Don't do it.
And you're an American. Oh my God.
I've been really busy. I'm sorry. I haven't. And from what I could tell, I haven't really seen anything of substance. All they're doing is bitching about things, about the way they're being treated. Actually,
in this time and age, we really don't need to watch the debate because you know that after the debates, every frickin' commentator on the internet is going to be making comments about it on the media. So you'll get all what has been said, and if you are smart enough to look at the far right media and the far left media, then you'll get an idea of what in the hell is really going on.
Oh my God, ad nauseum! You're so right about that. Just on and on and on and
I know.
Oh, you know, and really, what they're doing is separating, you know, the wheat from the chaff, and that's why when we're talking about like the Ben Carsons of the election, he's going to go away. Trump
he'll go away. Trump will continue to rule the roost, and that's going to be interesting. I would love to see something like that. It'll throw such a hammer into the machine that it'll be worth watching. You know. Anyway, oh my God, folks, we are almost at the end of the show. This is hard to believe because we are such gabby people. We could talk forever and ever, but you know. And I've asked Donny to tell me how to do the YouTube thing that he does. I don't know what a YouTube is, and I've been thinking of doing an Aunt Gabby, you know, show on YouTube, but I have no idea how to do it. But he does it so well, and he's a young Aunt Gabby. Anyway, folks, look into the shows, look into things. There is so much good in the best of us. I believe that. So much good in the best of us? No, I don't believe that. There is so much good in the worst of us. And so much good and so much bad. My God, I've got to stop drinking. So much bad in the best that it's hard to tell which of us ought to reform the rest of us. Just remember that, folks. Now, St. Augustine said, "Love God and do what you please." What an absolute statement that is. You do not need any books of guidance to tell you what to do if you really do love the Creator, your Creator. Don't ever forget that. And here we are at the bottom of the show. And Sean, Sean, thank you so much for being in my life and for being one of the co-hosts on the show. You're a solid rock. And Donny, you're a solid pebble in this rock. You're so young. Anyway, I love you both, and thank you for being in my life. And thank you, folks, for listening and for telling your friends about the show, because it continues to keep growing. And I love every one of you, and we do. Good night, Spider-Man.